Welcome to An Apple a Day, a podcast, a resource, a community. Share your experiences and learn from others as we overcome barriers and learn to live a happy and healthy life. Not as disabled people, but as people with a disability. Welcome to the community. Here's your host, Jimmy Apple.
Welcome to another episode of An Apple a Day. I'm your host, Jimmy Apple. How you feeling today, my friends? You feeling good? You feeling strong? You feeling better than you did yesterday? Excellent. You can't ask for better than that. Hey, I want to remind you, An Apple a Day is brought to you by www.famousapple.com. Famousapple.com is the home site for this podcast. So if you get a minute, check it out. While you're tripping around the web, make sure you stop by our group page, Living with a Disability. That's on Facebook. You can get there real easy by going to www.famousapple.com/group. That's GROUP. There's a lot of people over there talking, they're chatting, they're making new friends, they're answering questions, asking questions, they're having a lot of fun. They're doing it, why shouldn't you? Go over there to www.famousapple.com/group. Hey, we have got a good one for you today. We have with us Donna Conley. She's an author, she's a podcaster, she's a little bit of everything. She has a new book out called Wild Moon Healing. It's a good book. She's going to tell you all about that. But I got David here. He's going to tell you all about Donna Conley. So sit back, relax, and listen to David. Go ahead, David. Tell us about Donna.
Who is Donna Conley? Determined to become an advocate for mental health, Donna S. Conley developed an integrated approach to teach people to discover who they are, what they want, and how to love and accept themselves so they can live their best lives. She began a career as a life coach, blogger, podcaster, and wrote Wild Moon Healing while working full-time in corporate America. Donna is working toward her goal of transitioning to a full-time career to help remove the stigma of mental health and normalize loving, committing, believing, and respecting yourself. Donna has had a successful career in the human resources field for over 20 years. She earned a master's degree in her field from UMUC and is currently attending Duke's DHWCT certification program. Human resources is the business of people, and Donna has professionally helped, supported, and touched the lives of many people during her career. She was born and raised in Riva, Maryland, but has always considered Reedy, West Virginia, her home. That is where her mind wanders when she thinks about growing up and the summers she spent at her Nan's. Donna is the proud mother of a United States Marine. If you can't find her, she's most likely in the woods discovering a new trail to hike or simply admiring the moon. From a total wellness perspective and addressing people as a whole, she believes strongly in the spiritual aspects of health in addition to physical and mental health. She deeply believes everyone has their own inner magic and can use it to create their best life and inspire others. Wild Moon Healing is Donna's first published work. And now, back to Jimmy.
Thanks, David. Now, I want you guys to sit back, relax, and without further ado, let me introduce you to this amazing person, Donna Conley. And as I promised you, we're here with Donna Conley. And I just have to point out, Donna has the same name as my wife's maiden name. Now, no, we're not related, but we may be by the end of this. How are you today, Donna?
Oh, I am well. Thank you so much for having me, Jimmy.
Well, thank you for being here. I am so interested in the subject, Wild Moon Healing. Go ahead. You have to explain this because I can't.
Well, Wild Moon Healing is, I was writing a book before I even realized I was writing a book because I journal and stuff so much. Just on my own personal healing path, I've had depression, battled alcoholism, and a lot of other things that many other people overcome in their life or are currently suffering through now. And, one day I remember just looking up, I always love the moon. I'm a definite moon lover, but I was like, wow, it's another full moon and I haven't done anything I said I was going to do. And so it kind of started creating my own routine of following lunar cycles to help me achieve my goals, help me to heal and learn more about myself. And, moon work can be a lot of different things, a wellness practice, healing therapy. For me, it was a self-discovery journey. You can use it as a time management tool, figure out what you can actually accomplish in a month. And, a lot of people, they waste a lot of time, watch TV, play video games and stuff, and then they wonder where their life went. It's been used as time management tool for a long time. So that's where the concept of the book came from. And, through the book, you get to know yourself. You create a goal, you go after it, and you really have to analyze yourself, like, well, why didn't that work? This triggered me, and, this was a barrier that I came across. So you kind of examine yourself, and then that brings up, like, something that needs to heal in you, like inner child work or some sort of trauma that's created something inside of you. And as you learn about yourself and go towards your goals, you transform your life.
So, now, how does this actually work? Are you? I'm at a loss.
Well, the program is with under the new moon. So when the sky is dark, that the energy is there to help you create your goals. You should always have long-term goals, but each month you should say, what is my goal this month to help me get closer to my long-term goal? So if I wanted to run a 5K, I'm not a runner, so I can't just go out and start running however many miles today. It's not going to work. What can I do this month to help me get closer to that goal? And so you create what you want to do, you create your action plan, and you come up with, well, if it's going to rain, what am I going to do instead of my planned running, right? And then under the waxing moon, which is when the moon starts to grow towards the full moon, that's when you go after your goal. So you just give it your all and see what happens. Does your plan work? If it didn't work, you kind of evaluate it and learn about yourself. And then under the full moon, it's like, okay, you've identified some barriers that maybe, held you back. And it could be a thought process. Maybe you have some negative beliefs about yourself. I'm not good enough or something like that. And you identify what's holding you back. And then under the waning moon, you work on trying to get rid of those things and replace them with positive things.
So is this like a monthly bucket list?
Yeah, pretty much, yeah.
That's pretty cool. So, like each month, you're making your goals for the month. You're making a list of your goals for the month, and more or less trying to make your goals. And if you didn't make them, you're analyzing why you didn't make them.
Yeah, maybe you were a little overzealous and you put too much on your plate. Maybe it wasn't realistic. Maybe you didn't believe in yourself enough and you didn't give yourself enough to-do items, right?
Oh, I get it now. I was lost there for a second. And everything is guided by the moon. So it's like starting with a full moon, and does it have to do with the half moon and the quarter moon and all that too?
Yeah, well, you have the quarter moon. The first quarter moon is during the waxing cycle as the moon gets bigger. And then the waning cycle has the final quarter moon, your crescent moon and all that in between. But I look at it as the whole cycle.
Ah, so you really don't have you don't have the time to get depressed. You you're busy writing stuff down, trying to accomplish it, and looking at the moon at the same time.
It was easy to do this past week. It was beautiful.
Really? Did you see? What was it? A couple of days ago, there was a. I rolled out of my garage, and there was this huge moon facing me. It was amazing.
Mm-hmm.
But it was beautiful. Let me get this straight, though. So you make a list of what you want to accomplish, not long term, but just for that month, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then now you're following the moon itself.
Mm-hmm. There's energy in the moon, like that full moon really captivated you. There's actual energy.
It did. It was amazing. It was like, bam, a punch in the face. I was like, wow, and I couldn't stop looking at it.
Yeah.
Honest to God. You know what the funny thing is? Every time I look at a moon like that, I'm looking for Jackie Gleason's face. Honest to God, from the honeymooners, I'm always looking for the face. But it just, I had to stop and just stare at it. And I don't know if I'm the only one that does that, but anytime.
I think a lot of people do, yeah.
Anytime I see, and especially when it's that big and it's just rising or whatever, I just have to stare at it. It's amazing to me. It's like it's got a hold on me there for a couple of seconds.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, the spirituality side of wild moon healing would be that this full moon lights your metaphorical path, right? So it helps you see things that, like we even if you're just teased on a playground, it's a part of you that you think, okay, this part isn't normal, it's not acceptable, so we hide that part of ourselves.
Mm-hmm.
And as you grow older, it's what I call shadows. So you have these parts of you that is you, your true self, which is amazing, but you don't show it to anyone because you're afraid of being laughed at or rejected or something. And so the spiritual side of a full moon is it shines on your metaphorical path and helps you see things that you've hidden and helps you heal from whatever caused you to hide it in the first place. So that's where you get into things like depression and anxiety and stuff. It's like, let's try to explore it instead of letting it, like I have plenty of times. I've never missed work from depression, but I have so many weekends of my life where I never got out of bed.
Really?
It's like, look at these things. Let's see what's going on.
Now, it's interesting you said that because on your bio, you said that you've gone through your personal journey in search of happiness and healing and stuff, but you spent most of your life hiding from your trauma.
Yeah.
When did you
Yeah, I used to be a heavy drinker. Once I finally started telling people about my blackouts and stuff, they were like, "Oh my gosh," And so when I sobered up, it kind of created more things. People were like, "Well, I miss drunk Donna. She was a lot of fun." I'm like, "Well, I don't know who she is because, she and I can't be around at the same time." I've always been an emotional eater, and I can go way back to childhood with that. But at a certain point in time, I became a binge eater.
Mm-hmm.
And so it's like, when you do these things, you have things that you hide from yourself, and we kind of hide it in our body, if that makes sense.
Yep.
So I'm drinking and I'm eating food, but as I put things in, it's preventing things from coming out, right?
Right.
I'm not crying. I'm not talking about my feelings. I'm just eating them.
Right.
So that I keep them in. And so those kind of things are the things that we need to explore. So if I'm like, okay, I need to go on a diet. So here's my action plan under the new moon. Well, okay, this happened and it triggered me into a binge eating episode. Look at this trigger. Is it something I need to heal? Is it someone in my life I need to get rid of? It's a pretty deep process. I mean, you have to be ready for it.
I can sympathize with you. I mean, when I first got hurt, I went through the binge eating.
Mm-hmm.
And I had enablers all around me. When people came to visit, they thought, oh, let's bring Jim a shake, or let's bring him Entenmann donuts.
Mm-hmm.
And that was my best medicine until I finally tried to stand up And I went from weighing 200 pounds to weighing 380 pounds.
Yeah. See, but what you weren't doing was probably talking about your feelings about the accident and all these things which is healing.
I,
Even though it hurts, that's the way to heal. But when you instead put things in your body to hide it, it just makes it worse,
well,
right?
it made me feel better when it was going in, and plus the
Yeah.
fact I used to smoke, and I went from smoking a pack and a half a day to smoking 5 packs a day at one point. And
Wow, I was up to 3 packs at one point myself. Yeah.
yeah, I
Yeah.
I was in bed at home, and that's all I did was smoke and eat. I mean,
Mhm.
since then I've lost 155 pounds now, and
That's
I
great.
and I don't smoke at all. But since then, I've
Yeah.
also had a couple of heart attacks and a couple of strokes. But you know, it all goes with the you know
Yeah, I have friends that said I'm way sicker now than when I drank and smoked so much. I don't know what
exactly.
it's, your body's expelling stuff or something. I'm not sure about that part, but
Your body's slapping you for doing it.
yeah.
But you compensate for bad feelings, and if you just opened up, I hated the
Mm,
world at one point,
yeah.
and the way I was getting even with the world was by destroying myself, and I see what you're talking about now.
Hmm.
How can someone identify the symptoms of hiding their feelings, of hiding their trauma in their life?
Um, well, there's you can blame. It's not your fault. It's somebody else's fault when, we make choices every day, even if it's because we're angry at somebody else or something. But if you blame anyone for the state of your life, that's kind of a clue. If you're angry, if you withdraw, you like to be alone a lot. Um, just not taking care of yourself. If and the thing is, we all have our answers inside of us. It's just kind of hard to see at times. But if you're eating foods that's going to make your body sick. If smoking cigarettes and drinking alcohol and all these things that I've done and all, and it's that your body doesn't like it.
Right.
But it's treating yourself in a way. You Some other things might be you say you're the yes person no matter what, no matter who needs what, you say yes at the own expense of your own health. It's like you put yourself last. Any mom in the world can probably say, "Oh, that rings true to me." you know but it's, like I was talking to someone the other day, and she's like, I'm not depressed. I don't binge eat, but I have all this weight to lose because I put so much effort into building my business. And I told her, I said, well, see, the thing is you put so much effort into building your business, but you didn't think that you were important enough to take care of yourself along the way. And she just kind of stopped and looked at me like, okay, so why I put all this stuff into my business instead of myself? And so she's contemplating these things right now, but it's all like, why don't you take care of you?
Yeah. Well, I think I could probably name 50 people like that off the top of my head right now.
Mm-hmm.
Does that mean that they're suffering from trauma though, or
Um,
or are they just
they
doormats?
Well, see, I think that everyone has some sort of trauma. Now, like my youth was, I don't have many memories before the age of 13.
Hmm.
I have zero memories of, I don't want to say anything that might trigger a listener, but I'll tell my story. I, my mom, when I was, kindergarten age, I had a failed suicide attempt. She shot herself, and I was there
Wow.
apparently, but I have no memory of it. Um,
Thank God.
my dad was doing the best he could, and he put me in a babysitter. And her boyfriend or husband, whoever he was, he beat me really badly one night.
Wow.
And that was a repressed memory that came out when I had my son. And then I lost my brother. He was a Marine in his 20s. I was 13. And so it's like that, that was like my youth. I didn't have vacations to Disneyland or anything like that,
Right.
So now, now, some people might have worse things than me. Some people might be like, well, I don't remember anything. My parents were there. Everyone was happy. We did this, we did that. Don't judge your trauma against anybody else's. Even if someone made fun of you and that's like the worst thing that ever happened to you, that's your trauma. And it doesn't matter if you think someone else's trauma is worse than yours or not,
Wow. You
Does that
had
make
it. Yeah. Wow.
Yeah.
That's amazing. No wonder you. I'm at a loss for words with that.
Yes, I mean, it's like, I think everybody, even if it's looking at a magazine and this young girl is like, oh, well, I don't look like that, so I am not pretty, I'm not this. Whatever caused that thought, that's a sign of a trauma, And
I always thought that everyone's problem is the worst to them.
yeah,
No matter what it is, you may think it's nothing, but to them, it's the worst thing in the world. And you can't take that away from them.
yeah,
You can't belittle them for it. It's the same thing in the disability community. People are hurt, and the hurt to them may be nothing to you. Maybe you went through something worse in your mind, but to them, that's the worst thing that could happen.
yeah.
So you can't deny them that.
Yeah, you can't judge another person based on anything. It's just love and compassion is what makes the world go round.
Exactly.
And that's what the Wild Moon Healing, my aim is to change the world by getting everyone to love themselves.
That's it. That's the
yeah.
answer. That's the answer to it all. You got to love yourself. Love yourself and respect yourself.
Yes.
Unbelievable.
Yeah, and it's like, I know with me, and I think it's with most people, we're our own worst critics. And it's like, no matter who says what, that's, oh, yeah, this is good. And you're like, no, it's not good enough, or whatever.
Exactly.
I don't know why we do that to ourselves, It's just love ourselves and appreciate what we did accomplish or learn something from it. There's never failure. Failure doesn't kill dreams. Fear does, right?
Exactly.
You get afraid, so you quit trying. There's to me, there's no failure. There's a success or there's a lesson. You're learning something or you're winning, right?
Exactly.
Either way, you're winning.
If you don't take a chance, you're never going to fail.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
you never know. If you don't take a chance, you're failing anyway. So you have to take a chance. If you take a chance, you're going to win.
Yes.
If you don't take a chance, you failed already. I know.
Yeah, because it's never going to happen.
I know when I was first starting the podcast, I hated the sound of my voice. And I'm not saying it's the best sounding voice, but I hated the sound of my voice. And I had the equipment, and it sat on my desk for a year. I had it all set up, and for a year, I looked at it. I didn't even turn it on to try it. I just looked at it for a year.
Yeah.
And then
It was the fear of no one's going to listen to me because I sound like whatever it is you thought you sounded like, right?
Exactly. And then I finally turned it on. I taped myself talking, and I said, "No, I'm not doing this." My wife talked me into it, and I said, "Well, I'm going to try it, but if people laugh, I'm throwing it away."
And now look at you out here.
Yeah, it's 5 years ago now.
Wow.
Yeah. Yeah, they still laugh, but I don't care.
Nobody's laughing that I know of.
But yeah, so your book. Let's talk about your book.
Okay.
You wrote it from your journals?
I did. I journaled, and then at a certain point in time, my friends were like, Donna, what are you doing? Because they were noticing a change in me. And I felt kind of silly saying, I'm doing this moon work. But eventually I said, well, here's what I've started doing. And they're like, oh, I want to hear more about this. So I started creating these moon reports and sending it to them each month. And those reports became my first rough draft for my book.
Cool.
Yeah.
That's really cool. Do you still journal?
I do. I don't necessarily journal all month long. I definitely do on the new and full moon for sure.
Hmm. Uh, I started journaling years ago.
Hmm.
The doctor had suggested it, and I find it very relaxing, actually.
Well, it really it gets into your nervous system, right? So we have these neural pathways, and when you actually take pen to paper, your hand is moving, so you're physically moving while you're thinking, and it really helps you to connect what you're thinking about.
Hmm.
And that leads to what I call aha moments, right?
Right.
So, you're journaling, all of a sudden you just sit back like, oh wow, like something clicks.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I know it helps me with the podcast. I used to do a blog, and I did
Uh,
that. I did that before I got neuropathy, but it helped me with the blog, and
yeah.
I find it relaxing at the end of the day. Sometimes in the morning, I just find it relaxing. And there's no purpose to it. There's no rhyme or reason to it. Sometimes
Hmm.
I just find it relaxing. You get your inner thoughts out I do it on the computer, but you get your
Yeah.
inner thoughts out, and it's done. And for some
Yeah.
reason, it's just like a relief. It's like a relief valve or something.
Yeah, it's this release. You let it go when you write it down. And I always tell people, if you're not a journaler, you don't like doing that, or you don't feel like you have enough time for it, be creative. Draw it,
Mm-hmm.
cook it.
Okay, right? Exactly.
Come up with something and use seasonings and herbs to kind of say what it is you're thinking, right?
Right.
It's just any way that you can to express yourself. That's learning who you are, and that's a great thing.
Here's something else. Now, this was on your profile, and it was one of the questions that you had, and I'm just
Uh-huh.
curious about it. It said at some point you were a functioning adult, raising your son, finishing your education, and working full time, but you were sad, just existing. You built a fortress around you to numb that pain. How was your life at that time?
Yeah, that was a pretty tough time. That's when I was really depressed. I remember my very first thing on. I tried to find help. I tried to find a therapist, but pre-COVID, it was pretty tough. I'm sure it's still tough, but no one would see you over a phone or a Zoom call back then.
Right.
And I just, when you're so overpowered with all these emotions and you're not even sure what it is, it's just so heavy. And I finally realized that, okay, a therapy isn't going to work for me right now just because I can't find someone to work with my schedule. And I went on to Google and I typed, how to be happy. I was like, this is the saddest thing, but that led me to something called EFT, Emotional Freedom Technique,
Right.
tapping on certain points, and you say what your false belief is, like if you think you're not worthy or you're not good enough, you don't matter, you go through and say these things, but then you go back and tap again to rewire your thoughts. And that really is what started me down this path of wanting to help people. It's like I figured out a way to help me. Now, EFT might not be for everybody, but for me, that was my first healing, what I call a healing modality that I discovered that really started to change me and pull me out of that darkness.
That's cool. That you know, sometimes you have to look in, like you said, you laughed a little bit when you said you looked in Google. Sometimes you have to look wherever, and you'd be
Hmm.
fine. You'd be surprised where you'll find the answers. You may
Yeah.
find the answer in a Cracker Jack box, but you'd be surprised. I've looked on YouTube for certain answers, and I'm shocked when I find them there. You know.
Well, like I could have spoken to a friend, right? But my friend's going to be like, Donna, why are you even sad? You've got this and this and this going for you, and it's something you can't really explain.
Exactly.
So asking for help is not always easy because you're not sure what you need help from sometimes.
Exactly. And
Hmm.
you're asking friends and family, and they're giving you that that oh, you have nothing to be sad about.
Hmm.
And they mean well by it, but they don't know what the hell they're talking about.
And it makes you feel worse because
Exactly.
you like, well, I can't even justify my own feelings.
Exactly. They're like, walk it off. Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
If it was that simple, I would have done that. Yeah. No, I understand 200% what you're talking about. And,
Yeah.
sometimes it's better to go to a stranger, you know,
Mm-hmm.
just to find out. I agree with you.
Yeah.
Now, your book, what's the one big takeaway from your book?
Well,
What would that be?
what I hope people get from the book is that they have all the answers they need. Whatever you need is inside of you. If you're searching for happiness, you have to find it in you. Whatever it is you're looking for, it exists in you. It's just, you're not, for whatever reason in your life, you're not able to see that right now. Yeah, I think my big takeaway is that, you have everything that you need inside of you, that you're made wonderfully, and there's absolutely nothing wrong with you. Because my big dream for like the world is to like eradicate depression, suicide, type 2 diabetes, preventable diseases that come about from people that just don't love themselves.
Now, correct me if I'm wrong. Just from talking to you,
Uh-huh.
I get the feeling your book isn't the type of book that says you have to do this or you have to do that or it's not going to work. Your book is more like suggestions, right?
Yeah, it kind of helps you find the answer in yourself because there is no one way.
Yeah,
If it were, then people would be doing that, right?
right.
But everyone has to do their own journey. Maybe it's this person who's very successful and he realizes that his whole life was to make his dad proud, but he's not done anything that he actually wanted to do, right?
Right.
It could be something like that.
Your book is the type of book that I would sit down and read, cover to cover, put it down for about 10 minutes, pick it up, and start again. Simply because you're not telling me this is what you have to do.
Mm-hmm.
You're giving me ideas. You're planting seeds in my head, actually,
Yeah.
to do it on my own. It's like almost like you're sitting next to me and saying, this is what I did, and this is what you could do.
Mm-hmm.
That's the idea I get by talking to you.
Yeah, and the questions that I ask in the book, I give these journaling prompts and different exercises, and it makes you think about something in a way that you wouldn't normally think about it, which, sometimes all you need to do is change perspective, and then things become clear.
Excellent. I love a book like that. I honestly do. I hate when somebody sits down and tells me like, you have to do this. If you do this, this is what's going to happen. How do you know that?
Yeah, yeah, they can't guarantee
No,
anything.
but a lot of people do.
Yeah.
And it's the same thing with podcasting. You get guys, they drive a cab during the day, but at night they're a doctor. But your book is one of the books that make you want to think. They have you wanting to think, and you're not sitting there drilling into somebody's head, I know better than you. That's
Yeah,
why.
'cause I certainly don't.
Because, I mean, if you had the answers, you'd be king of the world or queen of the
Yeah.
world.
Well, the only expert on your life is you.
Thank you. Thank you very much. If you had the answers to this, I'd be asking you for the lottery numbers.
I would have won by now.
Exactly. I would have been your best friend. This has been great. This has been great, Donna. And
I really enjoyed talking with you.
I definitely enjoy talking with you. Now, go ahead. The name of the book is?
Wild Moon Healing.
And where is it available?
You can get it on Amazon or anywhere books are sold. And you can also follow me at my website is wildmoonhealers.com.
And don't worry about if you didn't get that. It's going to, that website is going to be in the show notes, and we'll have the name of the book and where it's available in the show notes. Any other web addresses or anything you have?
You can find Wild Moon Healers on Facebook and Instagram.
And we'll have all those addresses in the show notes as well. Donna? And if you want to reach Donna, write Donna at, what's the address again? wildmoonhealers.com?
Yeah, you can go there and there's a contact me page, wildmoonhealers.com, and you can send me an email from the contact page on my website.
Send her an email. She'll write you back. She'll even send you an autographed picture of herself. It's been a lot of fun today. It's been a lot of fun. Very informative. Very informative.
Oh, I'm really glad.
And I'm going to tell everybody right now, Christmas is coming. This is a great book to buy someone as a gift or a stocking stuffer. So you have to get this book. Buy it for yourself also. You have to get this book. All right, Donna, thank you very much for being here with us today.
Oh, thank you so much, Jimmy, for having me.
Definitely, without a doubt. I'd love to have you back again.
Absolutely.
We'll talk more about the Wild Moon healing, and maybe we'll get something to do with the sun.
Yeah.
There we go. Thanks again for being here, and I really appreciate it. Have a great day.
You too.
All right. I want to thank Donna Conley for joining us today, and I want to remind you, check out her book, Wild Moon Healing. And I want to thank you for being here today. I really appreciate it. And I want to remind you, things can always be worse. That's right, my friends. Things can always be worse. Right now, there's somebody somewhere wishing that they were in your position. So things can always be worse. Remember that. Hey, have you been checking out the apple fritters? They come out every day, fresh every day at 4 a.m. We're up early in the morning baking a new apple fritter for you every day, 5 days a week. So check them out. I want to thank you again for being here today, and we'll be back again to talk to you tomorrow. Have a great day, my friends, and remember, do something today to make somebody smile. Wave to them, give them a handshake, smile. That's all. Hey, you've been listening to An Apple a Day. My name is Jimmy Apple, and I'll talk to you again, my friends. Have a great day.
Thanks for listening to An Apple a Day with Jimmy Apple, your gateway to a happy, healthy life. Join our community at www.famousapple.com. See you next time.